Uh, for the next session, we will have a speaker, invited speaker uh, from, I think it's from Thailand, Dr. Sulabh Kumar Dhanuka. Dr. Sulabh Kumar Dhanuka holds a PhD in aerospace engineering from University of Michigan, United States. He is the head of Digital Solution International at True Digital Group. He is responsible for the international expansions of all enterprises solution with a particular focus on hospitality, retail, and agriculture solution to enable the digital transformation in each of this industry. Prior to True Digital Group, Dr. Sulabh was a junior partner at McKinsey & Co. in Bangkok and Houston, serving clients on strategy, digital transformation, and operation. He has also spent several years at Exxon Mobil in both technical and management role. Today, Dr. Sulabh will share his presentation on digital solution for hospitality to emerge stronger. Dr. Sulabh, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor. Your Excellencies, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Om Swastiastu. Thank you very much for inviting me, and on behalf of True Digital Group, also thank you very much for allowing us to be a part of this really timely and excellent conference. It's quite a pleasure to also greet you in the traditional Balinese greeting, which we share in two other countries dear to me, Thailand and India, where in Thailand we say Sawadee, and India, of course, we also say Suwasti. It's also a particularly timely greeting for all of us as we look to hopefully come out of this pandemic, and wishing each other good health, happiness, prosperity is something I think we all could greatly benefit from. To that end, I wanted to talk today a little bit, introduce True Digital Group, introduce our broader company, but also really talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing here in Thailand and other countries to help the hospitality industry come out of this pandemic, come out of this crisis stronger. If I may, I have a few slides I'd like to share, which hopefully is visible now. Yeah, thank you. So maybe just, I'll skip my introduction. Professor has given a great introduction already. Thank you for that. So the CP Group, or full form, the Charan Pokpan Group, is one of the largest conglomerates in Southeast Asia, headquartered here in Thailand. Very long history with countries in this region. We're present today in 20 plus markets, and diverse interests across retail, agriculture, medicine, and etc. Of course, what's the interest that I'm a part of is our telco business. Again, for the last several decades, True Corporation has been operating as a telco here in Thailand, providing the traditional telco businesses of mobile phones, cable TV, internet connectivity, and what have you. And a few years ago, as part of the company's vision to be a digital leader, True Digital Group was launched primarily to help be the enabler of digital transformations in our region. As I'm sure we've all acutely aware, digital is a topic, is a concept that is being widely discussed across industries, across spaces. I think there's probably none of us here who do not just own a smartphone, but probably spend a very, very significant amount of our time on smartphones. And that is something that, we're looking to really, really bring to enterprises and capitalize upon. Within the True Digital Group, we have several different segments we're focused on. We have our consumer side, which is primarily led by our digital media platform. This is True ID. Very, very excited and proud to say that True ID was launched about a year ago in Indonesia as well. So, all of our Indonesian colleagues can enjoy and at the comforts of their home or wherever they may be some great media. We also have a merchant business focusing on loyalty points and programs. We have True Digital Academy, which is focused on upskilling and really bringing some of the core digital concepts, whether they are AI, coding, product development, etc., to folks right at the moment in Thailand. But the idea is, how do we help society upskill so that they are ready for the new economy and the Industry 4.0 revolution that's currently underway. I personally represent our enterprise division, where we are focused on technologies that are relevant to businesses. So these are IoT technologies, analytics, AI, machine learning. And today, of course, I want to discuss a little bit about what we've been doing through these technologies to help with the tourism industry here in Thailand. Now, it goes without saying, of course, just like Bali, Thailand was severely impacted by the pandemic. Thailand is also an economy that is very, very much dependent on tourism. It's some of our islands. I know His Excellency the Vice Governor, talked about the competition. I'm sure some of our islands, are in that list of competition. But these islands, similar to Bali, like the islands of Phuket, Koh Samui, etc., did suffer and continue to unfortunately suffer, as international tourism is nowhere near where it used to be. So, with the spirit of helping our society, our economies, True Digital has been working on several different initiatives, both through True Digital and True Telco, where we are able to provide cheap or heavily subsidized or even at times free communications and connectivity. We have deployed large-scale programs to provide students to work from home, or places that did not have adequate connectivity to stay connected through mediums like Zoom, etc. We are deploying cheap or very, or nearly free SIM cards as well in some cases to attract tourism and attract tourists to these places, especially as Thailand slowly begins to open up. On the right, I apologize, it is in Thai, but I wanted to share a recent announcement that was made by the Thai Hotels Association, a body that we're working very closely with to bring some of the guest solutions, the digital solutions, again, at very subsidized or even in some cases free of cost to hotels, so that they can enhance the experience that is offered to their guests, and do it in a manner that obviously does not impart their already strained and stressed P&Ls any further. I'm very, very happy to also share that this is something we are very keen to work with the ministries and the associations and the businesses of Bali on. Similar to the success of the Phuket sandbox model, it's something that I'm very keen to explore with Bali, work with the stakeholders, and see how we can help similarly Bali emerge stronger from this pandemic. So, some other things that we've been bringing to the economy, to the industry here. On the left are our new delivery robots. Of course, as a lot of guests are understandably concerned with interactions, with with wanting to maintain social distancing, technologies like robotics are able to deliver the goods, deliver the food to the tables without the direct interaction with wait staff, making it, of course, a much more hygienic, much more safer and convenient solution for a lot of restaurants. On the right, we are also deploying self check-in kiosks at hotels that will again further eliminate the need for a guest to interact with the front desk staff. They can walk up to a terminal like this and basically get their room key from the machine directly. We're also working on similar systems to provide information, provide wayfinding across different properties, not just in hotels, but even in other tourism related areas like shopping malls, like entertainment venues, amusement parks, etc. So this is, of course, just a small sampling of the various technologies that we're into. We are also actively bringing solutions into the retail industries, into our agriculture industry, and healthcare. Today, for this talk, I wanted to focus naturally on the hospitality space and specifically our Crave solution, which is a digital guest solution, which again, as Mark, has been around for many, many years. And as we see markets open up in the UK, in Europe, in US, we're seeing a lot of hotels gain a lot of value and benefit from a solution like Crave. So what are some of the key pain points that I see, not just in Bali, but and not just in Thailand, but really around across the world, right? I'm also deeply involved with the tourism sectors in the Philippines, in Vietnam, in Malaysia, all countries that have had a very, very robust tourism sector, all countries with islands similar to Bali that have really been, where tourism has been one of the mainstays of those economies. So, of course, the first and biggest one, right, is this new normal. It'll take a crystal ball to really be able to say how much of tourism will return, what it will look like when it does return. But I think we can safely say that guests will expect a much, much safer, experience and want to be assured that they're minimizing their risk of contracting not just COVID, but any illness or disease for that matter. So that's a very, very significant area that we want to focus on. Number two, through this pandemic, as I'm sure all of us can appreciate, the uptake in digital has only gone up. Today, we are all very, very comfortable ordering, whether it's food, groceries, clothing, anything we need online. We interact with each other online, whereas many folks may not have ever heard of Zoom. There's probably nobody in the world today who has not used video conferencing in the last few years, right? And so what has happened is, while hotels and the tourism industry might have been stagnant, the guests, the tourists who will be coming back, they have been using digital in their daily lives for a very long time now. They have smartphones, they're very comfortable with those smartphones. So now the question is, how does the hotel bring that comfort, that knowledge, that experience that guests are used to their hotels as well? And it's, I think, a very important point, because at the end of the day, of course, our industry is all about a great customer experience. So delivering the experience in a way that the guests are used to is, I think, very critical. The days of when we picked up the phone to place an order, for example, are long gone in our daily lives. And I think it's important that hotels recognize this and ensure that they are providing that right experience to their guests. And then finally, absolutely goes without saying, right? His Excellency, the Vice Governor, just described the contraction in the economy that has happened through the last through this pandemic. Hotels have suffered greatly. Even today, most hotels are seeing very, very low occupancies. So the need for profitability has never been greater. The need to increase revenues, reduce costs, to find new opportunities to gain increased spend from the tourists that do come is significantly higher right now. So how can digital help address some of these points, right? And we believe we have a solution which we're very excited to bring to Indonesia and to Bali specifically, that really addresses these three and delivers a fantastic experience for guests. We call this solution Crave. Crave is, again, as I said, been around for over 10 years out of the UK. True Corporation, has this in our product portfolio. We have a significant stake in it. And initially it was for digitizing a hotel's guest experience. While the need was urgent then, it is extremely urgent today for all the reasons I just mentioned. Right? It is designed specifically for hotels. It is meant to address the pain points that hotels have. And now we've also further deployed it to the restaurant space through a sister product called Serve Safely, which provides a similar experience for customers in a restaurant where they can place orders digitally, where a restaurant can receive orders digitally, receive payments digitally, and do all of this without any significant investment or development work like IT projects tend to be. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail in the time that remains on Crave, on what Crave can do and how it can help hotels and customers and guests in these hotels. So as I was mentioning, it does apply across multiple sectors, of course, to hotels where it allows a hotel to replace the collaterals, replace those big, thick printed binders that are popular and common in hotels today. It allows restaurants to receive orders digitally, essentially create a Gojek food of their own within the restaurant. And then we've also deployed it in the medical sector in hospitals, where it provides patients the similar convenience without necessarily having to call a nurse or without having to pick up the phone, which obviously for a patient can be difficult at times. So why does this, what is Crave and how does it help? What does it do, right? If you can see from the image on the left, it is a tablet that gets deployed in each room. We also have a tablet-less or a QR code-based solution, which I will describe shortly. But at the flagship version of this is a tablet that sits in each room. As you can see, the tablet provides a very customized experience. It looks the way the hotel wants it to look. We deploy that working with the hotel to ensure it's custom branded for the hotel, and essentially looks like an app that the hotel would have developed and produced themselves. It replaces all the paper in the room, right? So it ensures that you're no longer having to spend money on printing. You're no longer having to spend money on distributing printed paper across rooms. And of course, if there are any hotel operators here, which I'm sure many of you have experience with, you will appreciate that that can be a significant, not just cost, but headache to manage. We, through these tablets, through the system, it provides a very seamless experience for the guest to interact with the hotel through things like in-room dining, booking spas, booking other excursions, booking the concierge service, and essentially replacing the phone and the digital printed binder with a digital tablet that we've all now come to use and appreciate. So what's the value in this, right? Ultimately, going back to the point number 3 I mentioned, with stressed profitabilities, naturally, it's important that any digital solution that's deployed is not just a gimmick, but is actually delivers bottom line impact to the hotels, right? We've now had over 800 million interactions through our Crave system globally. The 50% operational saving is not an exaggerated number. We're seeing significant efficiency improvements in staffing, in operational speed and execution ability as the orders are coming in digitally, no longer requiring wait staff to maybe walk to the guest, share the menu, walk back, come back, receive an order, send it to the kitchen, etc., etc. Today, in a matter of seconds, a guest sitting by the poolside, for example, can place an order and have received the order in quick time, saving a fair amount of operational headache and enhancing the experience for the guest. And then lastly, the part that I'm most excited about is through this system, we have seen a marked increase in sales, especially of F&B sales in hotels. Today, F&B is a sizable portion of a hotel's revenue. 30 to 40% is not uncommon in hotels for their revenue to be from F&B. If we now further say that with low occupancies or reduced number of tourists coming to hotels, of course, a hotel wants to maximize the revenue potential from the guests that have already arrived at the hotel. And we see that with a system like this. A digital ordering system that's convenient, that can be, menu items can be ordered at a click, naturally promote both increased basket sizes, meaning higher number of products ordered per, number of products ordered per order, but it also promotes more frequent ordering because you no longer have to try to call a waiter or wait for the menu or go back and forth. So we are seeing 20%, and that's honestly a conservative number in increased F&B sales through the Crave platform. So what does this tablet look like? Again, this is the tablet-based solution. I will describe the QR code-based solution in a minute, but the tablet solution looks like this. It would sit by the bedside in a hotel room on a dock. It would include, of course, the customized system for the hotel with all the right menu options and all the items that you would find typically in the directory. It's removable, so the guest can walk around with it. It can control the room lighting, room curtains, etc., if you will. It also can control the TV. So we find a lot of guests like to sit on their beds, control their TV through this, and also end up ordering more as they're sitting and watching their favorite movie or something at night. As I've mentioned, one of the key benefits to this system is that it is truly custom designed for the hotel's brand. The guest would never realize that it's actually a third-party system. For them, it looks like it is the hotel's own in-house developed app. It doesn't, and therefore it won't look like any other app or another hotel system that they may see elsewhere. And this is something that really sets the Crave platform apart because it's all about delivering a great experience, and a custom design delivers on that experience. Many different services can be offered through it, whether it's housekeeping requests and, of course, in-room ordering, booking the spa, controlling the room. Even we've seen in some cases, hotels have partnered with external vendors, external agencies, external venues, and offered those services on their platform. So, for example, if in Bali, somebody wants to, a third-party operator can be partnered with, offer the temple tours or offer a early morning hike up the volcano. All of that can be offered through the system. So I've been saying this is the tablet version. A year ago, well, not a year ago, a year and a half ago, at the start of the pandemic, when we realized that even tablets guests may be a little hesitant to touch, they would want to use their own smartphones. We deployed a QR code-based solution where a guest can scan a QR code that could be placed in the room, in restaurants, by the poolside, in other areas, common areas of the hotel. Scan that QR code and pull up what again would look like that hotel's own in-house developed app. It offers all the functionality that I just described that we have in the tablet. It allows that seamless ordering, seamless communication with the hotel, allows chatting with the hotel. And it does that all through the convenience of the guest's own mobile phone. Naturally, because tablets are not required, it is a much cheaper system to deploy. And this is something that we have been deploying quite successfully here in Thailand. Again, I will mention this at the end, but I just wanted to mention this here. We are very much, in partnership with Bali to bring back out of this pandemic. We're very happy to offer, very low cost, deals to implement this. We're even happy to discuss free deployment if required, so that we can be a partner with you in coming out of this pandemic. I invite folks to scan this QR code that shows up on their screen. It will take you to this to the demo sort of deployment of a imaginative hotel called the Hyde. But this is essentially what it would look like for your hotel, and of course with the right branding and the right changes to the items there. But this is as simple as the solution is. These a hotel, like the Hyde, could place these QR codes everywhere, and guests could access all the services of that hotel through their own smartphones. I cannot say this enough, right? The hospitality industry is all about the guest experience. Guests are happy guests equal, returning guests equal increased business and happiness for the hotel as well. Forums like TripAdvisor today are naturally very important sites. There's probably no general manager in the world who does not frequently check TripAdvisor to see the reviews that have been left for their hotel. And across, again, the Western markets and in Asia, we're seeing great positive reviews for Crave from the guests themselves. That's all I had for today. I again invite everyone to please reach out to us. We are very happy to discuss any potential ways of working together. Our teams in Indonesia are keen to help you deploy this system, including at no cost. So please do reach out. With that, thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti Om.
Om Santi 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 Om. Thank you, Dr. Sulabh, for a very latest information on technology and practical use of digital application. Now we come to question and answer. We have about 15 minutes. I would like to invite audience to ask any kind of thing related to digital solution. Through digital, will have all the answer for that, I'm sure. While we're still waiting for audience to ask a question, I have a question for you, Dr. Sulabh. What is the response of this all new and amazing digital solution from the Thailand company? Do they like it? Do they have enough money to buy, to use it? Or what is their general reaction? Thank you.
No, it's a really good question, Professor, and a very important one. Overall, look, I think I would answer it in two parts. Number one, I won't lie. Hotels in Thailand are equally under stress. So they have struggled to deploy a lot of these solutions. What we see is the ones that are looking ahead and realize that tourism will return. There will be business will be back. How do they stay ahead? And they are investing in these technologies, right? They are similar to how any hotel would do renovations to their properties. They're deploying digital solutions as part of that program, and they see it as an important and necessary investment. But I also want to say we are helping them with that. We recognize that the pain must be shared across, and so we are helping them with some of those investments. But overall, the response is very positive. And as guests start to return to Thailand, we're really seeing them appreciate some of these measures. And I think the speaker had earlier mentioned that, how does Bali come back? It comes back by assuring tourists that Bali will offer them that safe, excellent experience that they once used to enjoy in Bali.
Okay, thank you. I think we agree that the digital solution is kind of unavoidable solution for the current and future tourism and other aspect of our life. Now we have a very quite number of questions. The first one I would read it for you to answer. The first one is from Putudia Sastri Pitanatri. This is the question. Maybe it is a bit off context. As tourism and hospitality is deeply connected with human-to-human interaction, do you think the robots and artificial intelligence will replace human resources in providing services for guests?
Short answer is no. I cannot agree more with the question, right? The human-to-human interaction will never go away. And in fact, this applies not just to hospitality or tourism, but this applies, across our lives. Humans are social animals, and we will go back to social interactions. So, but the way I say it is, digital is not meant to replace necessarily, right? It's meant to complement. Where social interactions really matter, such as in the greetings, in the interactions, in the conversations, digital cannot replace that. But there are areas where digital is a very valuable tool. Picking up the phone to place an order, is not necessarily a very pleasurable, necessary, human-to-human interaction. All of us order food and items now through our phones, and I strongly believe there's no reason that should not happen for hotels as well.
Yeah, thank you. Now a question from Nigel Mason, one of our invited speaker for tomorrow's session, and he asked question as follow: how can you reduce hotel costs and increase revenue when there are few Western guests who use this product and local tourists who will not use them anyway? Surely this talk is purely a sales call for a destination like Dubai that is already full against and has hotel with money to spend. Most hotels here are close to bankruptcy. Hotels here are desperately trying to maintain their hotel, pay the power and wage costs. We need digital solution to bring customers. Empty hotels need guests, not digital equipment at this time. Trying to sell hotel system to an empty hotel that is had no cash input for 2 years is like rubbing salt into an open wound. Your response.
First of all, thank you, Nigel, for that comment. Of course, the intention is by no means to rub salt in any open wounds or anything like that. Let me address some of the points you bring up. Right? Look, I fully appreciate where you're coming from. I fully empathize with the hotels that have suffered over the last 2 years. I personally work closely with the hotels and the hotel associations here in Thailand. And I assure you, Thailand, is in a very similar position. Large islands that were completely dependent on tourism today, feel like empty ghost towns. So this is not a pitch meant for the likes of Dubai or Las Vegas or something like that, right? I'm discussing solutions that we've seen applied here in Thailand. And the point, I guess, that's important is, yes, times are tough. And absolutely right. Solutions that help bring guests back is very important. And I'm not discounting any of those. Those should be deployed, those should be pursued. The question, though, is, I think, twofold. Number one, how does a hotel keep itself relevant when tourism does return? Number one. Number two, how does a hotel maximize revenues from the tourists that do come? So by that, I mean, a hotel, yes, and to your point on investment, absolutely, it is difficult. And that is why, yes, here in Thailand and equally in Bali, we are very keen to find ways to work together and find ways to help deploy these systems at little to no cost, even free in some cases. So we're willing to go into that pain so that hotels do come out of this stronger. And coming back to my point on staying relevant and maximizing revenue, right? A hotel has already invested significantly in the property. The question is, it's there. Now, how do you ensure that when tourism does return, you are standing on top of that line? And that's by ensuring you have the best experiences, and that's by ensuring that you are maximizing the revenue from the guests that are there. And then your last point, I think, on local tourists will not use them. I'm sorry to say, but I hold a very different opinion of our domestic tourists than you do, perhaps. Right? We, equally like Western tourists. Here in Thailand, we're seeing Thai tourists who are traveling to their own islands, very keen to use digital solutions and enjoy that experience as much as the next person.
Thank you, Dr. Sulabh, and also thank you to Nigel for an interesting question. We still got two question on the chat box, but I got someone raised their hand to ask a question directly to Dr. Sulabh. Prasiwi Bestari, time is yours.
All right, thank you, and good afternoon, Dr. Sulabh. Thank you for a great presentation. So looking at your presentation, it seems like Thailand is really advancing into a future with all this high technology or digital technology. So I'm very curious on the development of the tourism in Thailand and how this digital technology helped to boost the tourism industry, especially those who are more in a rural area. And also looking at this digital technology, even human, there's always a space for error. And how this digital technology, what happened when technological problem occur, how are we ready if the technology disruption, if there's any technology disruption caused by technology, how can we prepare those kind of things in the future? I hope it's clear enough. Thank you, Dr. Sulabh.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Let me try to answer. I think there are two questions. Number one is how is True Digital been helping hotels and tourism here in Thailand? But first, actually, just clarify one thing, right? Tourism in Thailand continues to struggle. So while the tourism ministry and the hotel associations have really tried to boost things, I think the Phuket sandbox model, where the idea was to really get a very high vaccination rate on the island of Phuket, and then sort of put a wall around it almost, right? The sea helps with that. And then allow international tourists to come into Phuket without any quarantine, while the rest of the country still had quarantine. That was very, very helpful. Similarly, that sandbox model has been extended now to the islands of Koh Samui, and even some actual mainland towns like Hua Hin are being explored for that. So I think it is a government effort. It is a government effort to obviously start the vaccinations, start I think a sandbox model is something that I think Bali, I'm sure, has considered and might be still exploring. Getting the flights back in, things of those nature, I think are probably are definitely much more important than a digital solution. To be very, very clear. On your second point about being ready for the disruption, I guess I just want to very quickly say I think it is a myth, I believe, that technology will disrupt us out of our jobs, right? For thousands and thousands of years, we've had technology, and yet we all have jobs, right? So similarly here, digital is another technology in that long line of technology that has come before. And the key is for us to be relevant, right? It's for us to, I think as individuals and as businesses, to not, sort of fall behind, to, continuously upskill ourselves, to continuously find ways to ensure that, we are ahead and, at least current with the latest technologies, latest, innovations. And that, for example, is what part of what I was describing, which is what do guests expect? Are they still expecting the experiences they had 3-4 years ago? Or are they now expecting experiences like they've had in their homes for the last 2 years? I hope that that answers this part of your question.
Prasiwi, do you have any further question or you got enough?
Yeah, I think it's already answered clearly by Dr. Sulabh. Thank you very much for the explanation.
Okay, thank you. Let us continue to the question from the chat box. There are two at the moment. One is from Ketut Kardana. If I could rewording the question, what are the digital solution can offer to Bali to recover its tourism industry? I hope it's clear enough.
Well, it's clear, but it's quite broad as well, right? I think, look, number one, I can't stress this enough, right? This has to be a concerted effort from the ministries, and down, right? I think it has to start there. It has to start with the hard work's been done. Right, as we just heard, Bali has successfully vaccinated, 100% of the tourist sector, and 80+%, if I remember the number correct, of everyone on Bali. So the hard work is done. Tourists are itching to come and start traveling again. Right, we've all been stuck at home for too long. Bali is and will be an extremely popular destination. So it's maybe less about a digital technology, but maybe, I would say, on the side of digital marketing, it's a way to really, really, boost Bali tourism again. I think working with the various digital tools that, promote Bali hotels and sectors in different OTA platforms, in ensuring that the pricing in the promotions that are widely known is, I think, critical. And then, once tourists are in Bali, giving them that experience through seamless booking of services, through being able to check in and places and ensure that, they're themselves and others around them are COVID-free or at least vaccinated, I think are some of the simple digital technologies that can be deployed, right? After that, things like the delivery robots, etc., that I described come in. But it's the simple, basic stuff that digital is a tool, is an enabler, is not the core, is how I would put it.
Yeah, thank you. The other question on the chat box is from Maya Ismayanti. If I could, I would like to invite Maya to ask question directly. Could you do it, Maya?
Yes, thank you, moderator. When we talk about the digitalization on tourism, it means investment, right? For big resort, it might not be a big problem, but for the resort, small resort, which community-based resort, for instance, it might be an issue. What do you think about that? And any suggestion?
You're absolutely right. It is. I would put it in two ways. Number one, many vendors, ourselves included, have see that pain and are willing to find ways of reducing that burden. Either that's through free deployments, deferred deployment, payments, what have you. And we're not alone in this. Right? Honestly, this is a great time for a hotel or any business to raise their hand and say, we would like to, go to a vendor, raise your hand and say, look, guys, we want to do this, but help us out. And you will find vendors are very, very happy to do so, where, in other times they may not. The other model I would say that is very successful is one of a revenue share model. Right? So rather than investing up front, right, work with the vendor, and we have done this, we're very happy to do this, right, with several of our clients and guests and hotels, is we share the revenue, right? So that way, if there is no revenue, both suffer, both feel the pain, and once the revenue does start coming in, both parties benefit from that. So I think those are two strategies I would say hotels, big and small, should explore. And again, because it cannot be stressed enough, right? The hotel is built, tourism will return. You need to stay relevant. So make the don't shy away because of the investment today. Continue to keep the hotel relevant and work with vendors either through some of these models that I described. To make those investments possible.
And through digital can provide that?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I again want to stress this. We are, we are invested in the long run. We're obviously very invested in Thailand. We're similarly invested in Indonesia. And we are wanting to work in the manner that's needed for these times.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, for your contribution to the question and answer session. We still have more or less 4 or 5 minutes for question and answer. I would like to invite audience who still have a question to ask to Dr. Sulabh. You can ask question directly, lively. Any more question? 3, 2, 1. Well, since there is no more question, I would like to thank Dr. Sulabh for a very interesting, insightful, and useful information on digital technology and also development of tourism in Thailand. It is very useful for us here, and on behalf of committee and also Udayana University, thank for your knowledge, support, and also special support from through digital through our conference. If you would like to say a last word for us, please do so.
No, just again want to thank you, Professor, for moderating. Thank you for allowing True Digital to be a part of this. You know, I say this again and again. We will come out of this stronger, I'm sure, and you know, we are in this together, and we will come out. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om. Yeah, well, audience, my task is finished up to this time. I thank you for your attention to make the session very wonderful. Now, time back to Dian. Thank you.